Hello, everyone. So tonight I'm just waiting for my guest to pop up. So until she is able to arrive, I thought I would take this time to maybe share a little bit about um, all of the great things that are happening. And one is a story, real short, about a team of amazing people who work in schools. One is a math teacher, and another one is an occupational therapist, and they have asked me to be a ghostwriter for them for the new book that they have coming out, which is called Math Disconnected. And we are just at this last tail end of finishing the writing, and it is just a fun, exciting process. Wait, you mean you're writing a math book? How could that possibly be fun? What are you talking about? Well, what's been so incredible is writing some fiction within the math. No, no, I know what you think. No, no. What I mean is we have added a whole teaching part within the story to allow the math to really shine through and understand and be able to capture it in such a way that it draws you right towards both of their services, which is really phenomenal, and it's a lot of fun. So I thought I would take the time while I'm waiting for my amazing guest to pop in. Her name is Lynnea Honn. And until she's able to pop in here, I wanted to do a little bit of a brag on Pinpoints of Light as well as Out of Darkness. The whole concept is that as a writing editor for Beacon of Light and a ghostwriter, the opportunity that we have to write story is just it is awesome and just so much fun. What is great is to see how they respond to so many things with the Beacon of Light services. So I thought I would share with you a little bit of a story, because if you are wondering ever how that you would write a nonfiction self-help business or memoir book with the power of connecting stories for impact, and if you know do you know how to organize a structure for these stories with your primary vital points that will give the readers the results that they so want, well, my service is here. And as I tell you about this quick little story, I want you to think ab- about a book that really impacted you as of late. So here is a quick story. So a while ago, I was a single mom with 5 kids. I just left an abusive marriage and I became a special education teacher. And I did all of this to give my kids a new life. And no matter how busy life was, I still knew deep down that I was still a writer. And something happened that changed my life forever. And after being single and working full time as a teacher, and attending school full time to complete my master's degree, I knew I could not raise my family alone. Nope, that was just not going to be possible. So I started dating. Many of you know Scott, and we were able to date and then get married. And he took the just loving into my 5 kids. Then together, we had 4 more kids, turning our family of 6 into 11. And we have different kinds of special needs, autism, deaf, why we sign, right? So at the time, I had no idea what the impact would be for me. And we started coming to some challenges. So I'm learning ASL so I can communicate with my daughters while doing, all the other things that are happening. And we're supporting our family of the 9 kids and trying to figure out the side hustle to feed, you know, the homegrown baseball team. That's what's happening. And I just knew that I loved writing and I knew that I could ghostwrite for other people, but I didn't even have one client. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And this is the problem, is like, okay, so we got all this going on. I feel like I need to do this ghostwriting, and when am I going to have the time for everything? Well, just when I thought that these challenges couldn't get any worse, we uprooted the whole family and we moved to Texas. Why not? Well, we moved to Texas so I could keep improving my ASL and my teaching career and opportunities there. My husband, he was working and then lost a job after moving to Texas. So, as embarrassing it was, we did have to ask for some support for food assistance and things like that. And I thought, well, my side hustle, like, oh my gosh, we really need to start this right now. So I posted in writing groups all over social media, and I was like, anyone out there? And really, when I hit the rock bottom, there wasn't enough income to cover all of the things. And so I had maxed out, unfortunately, a credit card, and I couldn't find any clients. And I was like, "Hoo hoo, I'm a victim." But y'all never do that, right? Okay, good. Only me. I'll keep working on that mistake. But really, something happened that started to just change everything. And after some screaming in the pillow and being frustrated, I just stopped and prayed, and I just stopped becoming that victim of my circumstances, and I took action. And I completed a self-improvement course, and I became a certified ghostwriter, and I knew that those actions were going to lead me somewhere. And that was just the spark that I needed. And 3 days after getting certified, I was hired by 2 different amazing people for ghostwriting gigs. It was like A to B. Boom. It was just right there. And I gained these clients, and they had been personally struggling to write their book for over 5 years. Yeah, I said 5 years. Wow. So I felt like it was such an honor to be able to bring this in and to do that ghostwriting for them. And we captured the voice and the message and the impact, and they found everything within the services that I was bringing forward. So my clients have read my published books of Pinpoints of Light and Out of Darkness, and they totally vetted me of being their writing coach and a ghostwriter. And then what happened next was that I was actively serving my clients, and the referrals just started to come on in. I'm like, wow. So I turned my clients' fear into influence on their book, and I vetted them as the experts in the field. So I knew my clients. I knew what their specialty was, and that nonfiction, business, and self-help and memoir. Now we add sometimes fictional pieces to it to help express the story. It doesn't matter, because the story that is expressed is what is so important. And the readers are loving their work. In fact, I had a best-selling author from this whole ghostwriting gig, and that like forever changed so many things, because I was a viable ghostwriter, I was writing coach, the editing, all of these things could continuously improve. And so my ghostwriting clients, they have that number one best-selling book because of this whole process. I developed my writing clients, help them to find all of their stories and make the connection with their readers. So I went from being on just that edge of just getting by and being in debt and all of those things and getting help with food, to now opening the Beacon of Light writing services. And I was no longer a victim of my circumstances, because I took action and I became a victor. That really made everything so different. So, what does this story have an impact for you? Well, really, what I want you to be able to take away from everything is that I take my ghostwriters and my clients from the blank page to a published book. And I'm able to help with their developmental editing, writing clients to go from no story to the connections to finding their message woven through the book for maximum impact. And I love to go through and help with polishing off some of that editing so that you have the influence on the readers, because they're not stumbling through the mistakes and they just find the flow within the story. So, like all of you out there, this has been an awesome time to just kind of share a little bit about my Beacon of Light writing services. I open it up to clients every year, and this is since this beginning of the year. I do have some openings. So, if this is something that, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, well, let's connect and do a 30-minute quick little phone call to see if we are a match and how we can help you, because I want y'all to get that story out and help so many people out there that I don't know how to touch, but through the story, we can make the difference. And that has been just a huge thing, that so many things we can do together. So I wanted to just kind of share that out there for everyone. And while we're waiting again for Linnea to pop in here, we're just waiting for her to click that link and get things going. Hello, Jan. Hello. Thank you so much for being here and giving good supports. I know that there's just so many opportunities for so many people out there. So, again, while we're waiting, if anyone has questions about the service or about marketing or about getting your book into other people's hands, or wanting to know how these dreams can really become a reality, um, you know, drop them down below. And I would just love to be able to help and support in any way that I can, because this part is something really just that I love and wanting to help so many people. Um, Oh, and take this out here. Okay, so tonight we have Lynnea Honn, and this is her book, From the Heart of a Horse Woman. And this whole concept, she has poetry and the idea of connecting with the spirituality of animals and of a horse, really specifically, is something that have just she was just born into that understanding of what it was. And now she brings this forward for so many people. um and you've probably seen many of my horse community pop in here as of late through January. And it's just a great idea to bring that connection from the heart to someone else and bring it forward in a way that maybe you could change it can change your life. The opportunity for that change to happen is really magical. And the words that come from Linnea are we have captured some of those in the blog. So I thought that I would read a part of this from the blog post that she did. And this is called Horse. And it says, "We, the tribe of horse, are invited into the life spirit through I, gentle and bold, a breath that vibrates nostril, blast the bold charge of yes, a heart and beat that pulls us into life coherence, hoofball that strums the earth, entangling us in life's rhythms. Horse is a bridge from outer to inner until we have learned ourselves the trail of our path. Horse takes us from the world of stuff into an integration of oneness, always holding the space, always present for those yet not awake, giving us a veiled glimpse of who we really are. Horse is I am." Isn't that a beautiful, magical way to feel the essence of simplicity, of connecting out of the chaos of the world and the turmoil that happens, and to be still and then seek forward to knowing and learning even more. So, the concept of her book is something really powerful, and it's, not a thick, heavy read, but it's beautiful because if you are thinking about how to really um, pull in your thoughts or wanting to connect together with something very special and spiritual within your life, there are opportunities for that. Linnea has many different things to give and to put forward for all of you. There is a group that she is a part of and a founding member of, and the horse, human, spirit triad gives that connection. So if anyone is out there who really enjoys horses, who wants to be carried away with the concept of so many different parts of how the horse can give you that support, Lynnea Honn is a great person to connect to. Again, her book, The Heart of a Horsewoman, is something that we can drop the link down here below and give you that opportunity to capture those words and stories within yourself or an experience within yourself to then really gain and increase in all of our lives the opportunity. I would say to it arises every day with each sun and with each setting. So what we do within that time given, it doesn't always have to be this heavy action production. There are ways to guide in and to learn what our spirit really needs. So this opportunity for Lynnea to give this to all of you, I just wanted to share those pieces with you, and the opportunity for anyone out there who needs any writing support, we're here for that as well. The concept, the opportunity, say books, the all of it, right? Being editing, helping, share story, all things, really, they're possible because of words. And how do words impact us? They impact us in such a way that brings about action, brings about love, brings about deep thought. Sometimes grief and heartache can be revisited again because there's ways of growth through all of that. We have so many opportunities in our technology and our information age to share this outwardly. So I hope within your life, this is something that you do actively. Thank you so much, Jan, for being here and being a part of support for Lynnea tonight. I'm not sure if she was not unable to pop in here, but I wanted to still give her a shout out and an opportunity to claim this as hers. And so thank you for all of those who have come. And oh, she says that she is on her way. So that's great. That is great. I know the opportunity, well, think about seizing your opportunities from last week with JJ Burden. The opportunities are everywhere. There she is. Hello, Lynnea. I'm so glad to see you here this evening.
Oh, and I am so sorry about the time mix up.
It's
Of course,
okay.
I'm an hour before you are. So when you say 6:15, you meant 5:15.
Yes, yes, that Mountain Standard and that Pacific gets us all kind of wonky. But here she is, live, as well as her book. So thank you so much, Lynnea, for coming and being part of this program this evening. So since you are here, let's do a quick intro and then we will get everything started. So here we go.
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
And we are back. Okay, so Lynnea, thank you so much for being here. And we have running on the ticker underneath us the Heart of a Horsewoman and your blog and information. Great opportunity to really get such I called it almost magical, the way that sweeps away. Prior to you coming on and visiting with us, I was able to read one of the poems that you sent in the blog for everyone to kind of set the stage. So that's been really fun. So Lynnea, tell us why you wrote this book.
I wrote this book. I taught horsemanship, fundamental horsemanship, for many, many years. And it was just an extension of my own passion for the communication, the interaction between horse and human, which is a lifetime endeavor. And finally, I wrote the book to finally to crystallize, to understand what that passion is, to try and voice for myself and for others what it is about horses that create such an amazing bond, and not just a bond, but a passion to bond.
Yeah, that passion, it in such, I think that there's the mass of a horse, and I don't mean to say that flippantly, just the large, it's an animal with such strength that it could just take you down. And there's this opportunity with something with such power that, let's say, humbles itself to allow you to be a part of its world. That's it. I think that just the mass and the power and the understanding that if anything went wrong, I'm probably going to get really hurt, or, you could list it all out to even to death. We don't want to do that. But the idea is that something so powerful that has this heart along with the soul, like so many animals that I believe in, but it's the eye as they watch you, they're watching. And as you're allowed within their world, the spirituality, the connection really happens in such a way that, well, it's life changing for so many people, as you know. So, is there a story about a particular horse that really has impacted you in your lifetime?
There have been so many horses, but I would like to read a poem about the first horse. If I can find it. So this is called The Maiden and the Unicorn, and it was my first introduction to horse. I was 4 years old. The girl child's body presses against the white board fence, leans into the presence of horse. His great white head drops to her side. She is still. His breath tickles the soft baby hair of her cheek. His eye comes level with hers, and in that moment, a mystic exchange is made. His milk chocolate eye melts into her heart. Mystery, adventure, surrender. The connection of maiden and unicorn.
Beautifully said. I told you that tonight you would have these these magical words kind of have something different besides a ton of action and go and do and steps 3 and 4. Sometimes we just have to be still and remember the human experience is an experience to absolutely have. And sometimes we have the best human experiences in ways that surprise everything.
And this, April, is exactly where spirituality lives in our human experience. We each of us find, I was watching different podcasts that you did today, and you are amazing in your ability to touch wherever that person that's on your podcast with whom you're speaking, to touch the human experience that is also the universal. And this is truly where my bridge was the horse. Spirituality was always there, of course, as it is in each one of us, even when we don't know that it's there, even when we haven't awakened to it. But my bridge was the horse, and for that I am so grateful to have had this incredible, beautiful, sensitive, aware creature in my life that showed me how to be those things, that showed me that that's who we are. That's our being also. And the words in the book are always the expression or the attempt. You know, we always call that mystical experience, that there are no words for it. And yet we are always trying to find words. And words are that magical connection, that alchemy that takes us from the experience into the sharing of the experience.
Right. And in that sharing, that's it stretches both the person who's had the experience and the other that desires it. And in that, there's even more connecting. So, words, communication, language, the human experience, gathering it through animal, through whatever. The point is that we have that opportunity to make that not just connection, but I would say depth of understanding. And you're changed. When those things happen, you're changed and you don't return back because you've gained so much. You can't. You are changed for good or for ill. You are changed, and the opportunity that you've experienced have had, I'm sure, have gathered on both sides of the coin of understanding, um, just the volume of what can happen. And I'm sure, as you, as an expert horsewoman, and that the bridge and the experience that you gave and showed people of how to, ride and be a part of, and the showmanship, you sit back as an instructor, you sit together with the horse, you watch somebody take the instruction and carry forward with it, and then almost as a parental heart, you watch to see how things expand. So it's just amazing to have that, because you, in the end, you get more out of the experience almost, because you can,
Absolutely.
the appreciation, everything is right there.
That's right. I always felt myself very blessed as a teacher that 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 the people who came to me for learning wanted that experience. They wanted that experience. I wasn't trying to teach something that becomes rote or becomes anything, but it was an actual teaching relationship between the teacher and the student, the teacher and the horse, the student and the horse, and the three-way, because there are three of us out there or more, but it's always the teacher, the horse, the student. And it's a trinity, a blessed trinity that I was very grateful to have in my life. And now, of course, with the book, yes, sometimes I get feedback that people have really enjoyed it. They appreciate it. They hear what it says, but it's not the same as having that young person absorb their own sense of passion and relationship with the horse.
Yeah, that's so true. And so today, as things have changed for you in the sense of you're no longer actively teaching horsemanship, what is it that you do now that has your connection spiritually with, going forward with the horse?
Today is the anniversary of my last horse's passing. And so that's a very kind of apropos question, because I was looking at her picture today, and as I wrote in my blog a year ago, a month on, that she and I weren't done, that we had more to share. We had more to say. A lot of it is just repeating in new ways what I have said, sharing the depth of this passion that is still who I am, with or without so-called ownership of a horse. Because as I was just reading in something today, that the only true, it's not, owner wasn't the real word, but guide, and that God is truly the only real force in our lives. And so I got to share time with Sparkle Plenty and all the other horses in my life. I've had a number of horses in my life. Sparkle I happened to have from the day she was born. I had her mother to the day she died. And so, yes, she's probably one of the most precious gifts in my life. And she's on my desktop, so I greet her every morning when I open up the desktop. And what we have left to share is more of what that relationship is about. We are doing it through my personal blog. We're doing it through the Face group that we launched with your wonderful guidance. The Horse Human Spirit, a triad, where we each one of us, the three of us, Nancy Gerson and Jan Alexander, post our favorite books, post from our own books, post from our own experiences, spiritual realities, and hope to bring forward other people's voices. This is about not just my voice or any one person's voice. I'm hoping that my voice speaks and resonates for others.
Yes.
Does that answer the question? I feel like I went kind of roundabout.
It's the best way to go. I think that experience and sharing those understanding with people, to have them come forward and then to share as well. As we share, the connection there is even greater and bigger. It is that socialization that allows for more stories. And then because it opens up more memories, deeper and deeper, and then we can remember another time and another time. And we start to lose maybe our worries and fears of today, or the overwhelming things of chaos that can happen. And we get that moment of peace again, and of remembrance, and that becomes another blessing and gift right there. And then we can thank those in our lives that help to bring out the stories again. And like you said, as God watches over all of this, the smile just must be there, because I mean, it just makes me laugh, like a happy laugh, a happy smile. God, the creator of everything, was like, I'm going to put this all together. I'm going to make a horse. I'm going to see what these people do with this. And just that smile, right? And you just know, in the brilliance beyond brilliance of a God's mind, of of how all this happens. And when we get just the infinitesimal little experience of it, we're like, wow. And he's like, oh, there's so much more. There's so much more. And I just can't wait to see him visit as we pass through on from this earthly life into the next. Um, those that will be there to greet us. And I believe that if animals have been a part of your life, they will be there as well. And I think they'll have a smile and a nod and more of an actual, I'll say word for lack of a better term, word to brain communication that's even more clear than any kind of fictional book that you've ever read or wondered about. I think it'll just be right there and you'll know each other's thoughts. And I think that with all of his creations, that ability, that veil will lift and we will connect in ways that our chests will just burst with even more. And so there's never an end. It's just a moving forward. And so it is a special day for this anniversary because I'm sure smiling within those heavenly pastures, a few maybe foot stomps are sent your way to say, keep going, Lynnea. There's so much more. And as I ride within the clouds and as the tides roll in and out, which is what I love about this image right here, there is just so much more. Okay, I know we've talked a lot about this idea of horse and spirit and connection with God, but really, we're hoping that this hope and light finds you this evening and makes you ask questions, search for something, and find some peace within just the wildness of the world today. There really still is peace, and you can find it. Your situation and circumstances might not always allow for it, but there are moments that you can still have it. So, Lynnea, as we begin to close this evening, what are some parting words that you would love to share with everyone tonight?
You bring up peace and how it's possible in spite of whatever is going on in the world. And as a horsewoman, and to stay on subject, in a horse's presence, a horse lives in the present. And when we move into their space, and allowing for that space, I come into presence. I come into the moment. We always think, okay, what's this moment? Well, the moment is just this breath, this now. And I can do that in the presence of a horse.
Beautifully said. Sometimes we run from our past so fast that we fall into the future and we miss our present. And so as the horse allows us to stay here and enjoy as it's given, there's so many blessings within that. Thank you so much, Lynnea. Thank you so much for still popping in here and being, such a wonderful person to keep going through it all. You're welcome. So
I am so honored. I am so honored.
You bet. I just hope that everyone here had a little bit more light as the magic of those words were sprinkled about you this evening. And remember, you still can find peace. We encourage you to find it. Find your God, find your peace, find that togetherness. There's more of us here that support than what you could even guess.
Yes.
So have a beautiful evening, everyone. And we will see you next week on a wonderful Beacon of Light podcast again. Thanks, Lynnea. Bye, everybody.